Hello and welcome to episode 10 of Gender Forking, the Life and Death podcast with Sam and Lori. This episode is called Justice for Charlie.
Oh, good title name.
Yeah.
Episode name. I'm Lori.
I'm Sam.
Neither of us are Charlie.
We are not Charlie. The forecast today, it is 63 and cloudy. It is going to become partly cloudy. No rain in sight, but it's going to rain tomorrow, and it's going to be chillier, so.
You did a good job with that forecast.
Thank you so much. Welcome to our final episode, where we talk about the Stephenie Meyer's gender-swapped version of Twilight, Life and Death.
Which we are no longer qualifying as a feminist manifesto because she's full of shit.
We get to decide what feminism is.
Gatekeepers, Sam and Lori.
It was never this.
No. But that doesn't mean you can't enjoy things.
Yes. We will be discussing the epilogue to Life and Death today.
Which is called An Occasion.
An Occasion.
And
ooh,
is it?
It is such an occasion. And we'll also talk about maybe the Afterword.
Yeah.
And then the book as a whole, and then...
Little projectile vomit onto the microphone for 45 minutes straight.
Yes.
So, I'd just like to call to everyone's mind that at this point in Twilight, we are blessed with Edward and Bella going to prom.
Yep. In the movie, Bella's wearing the weirdest
worst outfit.
Alice, how could you?
Literally, whomsoever did costumes for Twilight, or whoever approved that specific look for prom, can suck my dick, because it is a beautiful dress that would have been fine on its own.
That's great.
That is like canon borrowed from Alice, and she puts on top of it
It's like a cardigan.
When the movie came out,
I
I used to listen to a Twilight podcast called Hail to the Cullens,
which is a great name.
No longer accessible on any streaming anything. It's not on iTunes. It's nowhere. I can't find it online. They used to have a MySpace page. Like, I can't find anything. But it was two girls named Rebecca and Erica, and I just remember them screaming about this cardigan and those leggings.
Yeah, the leggings.
I honestly, I just remember them saying, the most wild things, and, here we are now.
Yeah.
How
many years later.
dare they put her in leggings to prom?
Yeah.
If somebody showed up to prom and they were wearing a cardigan that was that ugly and leggings that were, capri leggings.
It should have been different, a different cardigan. I understand that it was cold the day of shooting that scene.
Put her in tights and a pashmina.
Film the scene inside. Put that gazebo inside of a building.
Do anything other than what you did.
Seriously. It was bad. It's bad. It was, it's such an iconic, poor decision.
Yeah, and it's they couldn't have done the same thing with Beau.
Yeah.
And he just would have been able to wear, a classy suit.
Just a suit.
Just a suit with a Monty Python tie.
The Monty Python tie. But alas, we are not going to prom.
We are not going to
prom.
We're
going to a fucking funeral.
Is Beau's funeral. Because it wasn't going to be sad enough.
Yeah. This is tragic. This is honestly a tragic ending.
I was reading this out loud in the car, and I was like,
yeah.
Oh my god. Yeah. It's very, very... Stephenie had an opportunity with this epilogue to do something different and maybe go a few years into the future, which is not something we get at the end of Breaking Dawn.
Yeah.
Maybe 10 years down the line, show them, I don't know, getting married, or I don't know. That would have been dumb too, but it would have been less dumb than this.
This is horrible, and this is really Stephenie Meyer exploring what would have happened if Bella had been turned either by James or at prom, maybe. Change when she wanted to be changed. But
I don't buy that she loves Beau as much as she loves Bella. Because why would she do this to Beau?
Yeah.
It's just shut up.
Yeah, this is really a terrible ending. And,
yeah.
And while Yeah, I don't know.
They try to like salvage it a little bit at the very end.
Yeah.
She tries to end it on like a positive note,
But it's really
but
not.
it's not.
It's really, really, really not.
It's just it's annoying because like this is like the agency that we wish Bella had.
Yes.
But if she had done this to Bella, like I don't want it.
Yeah. So and then like Bella. I mean, really, Bella gets
everything.
Bella gets pretty much everything. Like she gets to keep her family in her life. I mean, we don't ever hear about Renee, but she gets to keep her family in her life and that sort of thing, and be a vampire and have Edward, but Beau doesn't get to. Beau, everyone thinks that Beau's dead now. They've had his funeral, and he's watching. The epilogue starts. Beau and Edith sitting in a tree a couple miles away from the burial service that they're having in the graveyard or whatever, and he's watching.
So yeah,
and I guess Archie and Eleanor, I think it is, have faked his death. We don't get the details of that, but they mention his burnt out truck and using like a recently interred body.
So I guess the assumption is that he got into a car crash on the way to Phoenix or something like that.
Something like that.
Which is honestly like it's not really explored in this. But like if you think about Charlie and what Charlie's going through, Charlie has lost his son and also like
he's completely alone.
He's completely alone, but he left it on the note.
Yeah, a
terrible note where Beau said really hurtful things to Charlie, and then Charlie allowed Beau to leave.
Yeah.
And then because Beau left, this is what Charlie's thinking, because Beau left, he got into this horrible car crash.
Yeah. Absolutely tragic, and we don't really see Beau grappling with that at all. He's just like, oh, that's sad.
He's like, man, I wish I had said something different to my dad before I left.
Yeah.
And it's like,
yeah.
That's not, like, you should be.
I mean, I feel like Bella is extremely concerned with her parents.
Absolutely.
Her family throughout the saga. And Beau, it seemed like he was at first too, but like more recently it was just like kind of completely out the window. Yeah, I don't know.
It's really strange too because so during this funeral it's like it's very sad.
It's very sad. Everyone's there. Everyone's crying.
there. And like Renee, they've given some details about Renee that really sound like she is like chronically depressed.
Yeah.
She's having trouble standing up. She's like she's like sagging into people and like she looks very distressed, which is obviously like so understandable because I'm sure that she also blames herself for letting Beau go off, and I'm sure that she's gonna go home to Florida and have that message on her voicemail. It's gonna be horrific.
Yes.
Like
Beau leaves a message for his mom, like a very frantic message that's like, don't come back to Phoenix, like because Joss is chasing him and stuff. So like that's the last thing that he ever said to her.
And I'm sure that that's really confusing for her because there's
confusing.
if the car crash narrative is true, like then she hears this message and it's like, what does this mean?
It's extremely distressing, and it's going to be a mystery for the rest of their lives.
Yeah. Also, so I think it's really stupid. They go through this really sad moment, and then they're sitting up in the tree.
Yeah, Beau and Edith are, like, up there. Beau kind of cries for, like, 1 second.
Yeah. And then he gets over it. And maybe this is just, like, a different... I don't know.
It's kind of hard to say if he actually cried or if he's just, like, kind of upset for a second. But if he does cry, that's the only time we get him crying. Whereas we get Bella crying, like, 1 million times throughout Twilight. And we kind of get the details of what the Cullens' plan is. Edith is with Beau, and so she's not at the service. But the other Cullens are at the service. And the story is that, like, Edith is so distraught about Beau's death that she's going to be homeschooled the next year, and while the others finish school and they're all going to move.
And she's obviously too distraught to go to the funeral.
Yes.
And then they're going to move in a year when
Archie and whoever else is in...
Oh, Edith.
Yeah, just Archie
and Edith graduate.
Yeah.
So it's not, like, suspicious that they're disappearing, like, at the same time as Beau's death.
It's this very unresolved thing.
I would just argue that, like... It's not really responsible to have Beau in that area. Like...
Yeah, like,
I know it's kind of, like, off in the distance, but, like... I don't think it's gonna be... Well, now that...
It would make sense for them, for at least Beau and Edith to leave right away.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, not just to, like, be hanging out inside all the time. I don't know.
Yeah.
But also, like, because it's gonna be really difficult for Beau to resist the temptation to, like, go see Charlie or, like... have Edith checking up on Charlie all the time. It's just kind of like trauma porn.
Yeah.
To have like someone that's a mind reader and someone somebody that like we'll know what he's thinking, and, like, I'm sure that Beau's gonna be like, will you go see how Charlie's doing? Like, sit on the tree outside.
Sounds so unhealthy.
Which also, it could be nice if Jessamine was there, because, like, as I was saying, like, Jessamine could...
Yeah, the potential for Jessamine is great.
Yeah.
Is it utilized? Not so much.
No, it's stupid. But, like, Jessamine could go and, like, calm Charlie down a little bit. Like, maybe help him sleep some. Like, whatever. It would also be really nice if Renee could get some of that. Because this is, like, going to be, like...
It's terrible. It's all terrible. It's all bad.
Literally so awful.
It kind of just leaves off at that with Beau and Edith still up in the tree. And
yeah, they're up in the tree.
You
won't believe what happens next.
They do say, I think we might have mentioned it last time, but there's this kind of interesting moment where they kind of make fun of, like, basically Edward's plan for Bella, which was to,
oh yeah, we talked about that last time.
Yeah. To stay human, for her to stay human, and then for him to just, like, stay with her until she died. And they were like, that's a terrible idea. Mm-hmm. And, like, that feels, like, great to hear, but also, like, this other version that we're getting is also terrible.
Yeah.
So
it's funny because it's like they talk about not only, like, the plan that Edward had of, like, letting her grow old, but they also talk about, like,
what happened in Breaking Dawn.
Yeah. They talk about, like, getting married and having a big ceremony where we could say goodbye to our friends and like have a reason to tell them that we love them, and then
go away.
And then what's the quote that's like, that would never happen?
Yeah. Edith says, right. She said, rolling her eyes. And then we all have to worry about and then all we have to worry about is never aging and getting on the bad side of the Volturi. I'm sure that would end well.
And it does.
And then, and then Beau's like, okay, you're right. There's no other version.
But there is!
It's just, like, some little thing that Sophie Meyer decided to add in.
But also... In this section.
So they're talking about...
Why don't you just read it? Because, I don't
to.
think that we could even explain it and if we tried.
It's so absurd. It makes me cringe. I've never cringed so hard. We read this in the car, and then I just reread it just now before we were recording
this. And she had immediately repressed
I had forgotten that this happened because I hate it so much.
It's just like, okay, let's not lose perspective of the fact that they literally are at Beau's funeral.
They're at Beau's funeral.
Which is a tragic event, and they have just seen the horrible state of Charlie and Renee.
And they're talking about the idea that Edith could have stayed with Beau while he was a human, and she's like basically mentions passing that they would have gotten married, and he's like, but you would have married me? I asked. Really? Now she smiled wider. I still will. Archie's seen it. I blinked a few times. Can't read this.
You can, though.
He says, wow, I'm ... super flattered.
Super flattered?
You would really marry me, Edith? And she says, is that a proposal? He said, and I thought for half a second, sure it is. Will you? She threw her arms around me. Of course I will. Whatever you want.
Shut the fuck
Whatever you want. I hate it so much.
Does anybody want 5 minutes of Sam and I screaming into a microphone?
We'll
because
do it.
if we could arrange that.
It's so unnecessary.
It's just like, why did she have to include this?
I don't know. I think she was
at all.
It feels like she's trying to include a lot of the stuff from the rest of the saga in this very short amount of time. But it's like, obviously they were going to get married. We don't have to talk about it. We know that they're going to have sex, but you didn't put that in either. So,
oh my God,
come on. I know, for like 1 second, I was like, oh my God, are they going to have sex right now? But I knew better than that.
No.
There's no way. She hasn't changed that much.
Yeah. It's unnecessary. Like, we all know that they're together forever. That should be good enough for us. We don't need a proposal scene that's not, like, well written.
Yeah.
There's no cute little, like proposal moment.
Yeah, we don't have to subscribe. We are vampires. We don't have to subscribe to, like, these human standards of, like, the institutional models of matrimony and all those things. They really serve no purpose.
But Edith's traditional.
But, like, she's really not.
She's
not. She's not like Edward.
No. Okay. Anyway, there's a moment where Bonnie Black leaves the funeral and kind of, like, glances up at where Beau and Edith are sitting, and, like, it's said, like, there's no way that she could have seen them. But, like, she kind of also knows, I guess, that they're up there.
Yeah. So they're, like, in the tree, Edith and Beau, and then, like, Edith gets an urgent call from Corinne, and they, like, rush home, And the wolves are there.
3 wolves.
3 wolves.
Sam, Paula.
Paula and someone else.
Quill, probably.
Yeah, or maybe Jared.
Mm.
But we don't know that the name of that person.
Yeah. It's really interesting. As we discussed last time, the difference in the treaty. They come because they think that the Cullens broke the treaty and killed Bo.
And they want to meet up. Bonnie wants to meet up with them.
Yeah. Because Bonnie, as the direct descendant of Ephraim Black,
possibly Ephraim Black,
is technically the leader until Jules turns, and Sam is only the temporary.
Which is like weird because we never get anything in the Twilight universe that suggests that Billy Black is in charge of the wolves.
It's true because I think that there's no reason for us to.
Because Sam is the leader.
But there's nothing so significant that happens.
Yeah.
That's
true.
Causes Billy to intervene in the way that they think this treaty that was made not with Sam's.
Yeah, that could be something that I just don't know. But we never get an
No, I
instance
don't
like
think
this
we
at
do
all.
either, but I don't think the occasion arose.
Yeah.
Nothing this huge happens to the werewolves
early. Yeah.
Before Jacob is a
Yeah.
vampire. Werewolf.
So yeah.
What is gender? What are species?
We get lady version of Paul, which is Paula, which I totally called. So why would it be anything else?
She totally called it.
They meet with Bonnie. It's Kareen, Edith, and Bo. Mm-hmm. And Bo isn't sure if he's gonna be able to do it because he's a newborn vampire, but he's super strong.
It's
he
really
has so much self-control.
Different than the way that they treat Bella because in this, Bo is like, I don't think I can do it,
and they're like, you're gonna be fine. I wonder if which is so irresponsible, but I also wonder if part of that is because I think that if it was Edward wouldn't really care if Bella accidentally killed.
Yeah.
Billy Black or someone, even though that'd be very upsetting for her. But I feel like Edith would care, but she's still like, oh, you're gonna be fine.
Yeah.
But maybe it's just because they have to do it.
It's really strange. I don't know. Yeah, they do have to do it, but it's also very strange, the way that they treated Bella when Charlie came to the house.
Yes.
Or the way they even treated Bella before they let her hold Renesmee. Or the way that they treated Bella around Jacob.
Yes.
They really babied her.
Mm-hmm.
And acted like she couldn't do it.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's different. The way they're treating Bo, they're like, you've got it. And Bo's like, no.
Yeah.
Whereas Bella
he's also fine.
Yeah, so, and he's fine too. Yeah. But Bella was like, I can do it. I'm fine. I'm not worried about hurting my dad.
Yeah.
And they were like, you're gonna fucking kill him.
Yeah.
And it's just such a different feeling, and I don't really know the purpose behind that.
I don't think there is one. It's just
Stephanie changing her mind of how they're gonna be treated, which is
annoying as fuck.
Okay.
This whole section is really, it's a lot for. It's I don't like reading this section. This part of the epilogue.
I kind of wish that I could choose to forget it.
Yeah.
It's the technicality that happens is that the treaty only applied to Kareen.
Yeah, so it wasn't broken.
It wasn't broken.
And they can go in peace.
And it technically was Joss that would have even broken the treaty, I guess, but it's dumb. Also, the discussion that they have, Bo talks about how, he would have died months ago.
Yeah.
If the vampires hadn't have, if Edith hadn't intervened with the truck, with the rapists, or the gang members.
Yeah,
I'm sorry,
they're
not rapists.
There's no rapists in this story, actually.
Yeah. True.
Yeah. Edward and Bella don't really talk about it that way in the Twilight Saga. Well, I'm a vampire now, but, I would have, been dead to everyone, so long ago anyway.
They never really talk
Edward
about
never
it in
accepts
that way. Yeah.
Edward's, absolutely not, I'm going to keep fighting against whatever fate he thinks it is, but...
I think that religion and the soul don't play as much of a part in life and death as they do in Twilight.
Yeah, Twilight and Eclipse, it feels like there's a lot of religious stuff on Edward's behalf, but I don't get the same vibe that it would be like that with Edith.
I think that, perhaps her religious experience was different being a woman, maybe, and she didn't hold on to that, religious fervor.
It would be really interesting to explore that.
Yeah, it'd be really cool.
Yeah.
But, alas. The meeting with Bonnie goes well. Like, Bonnie is like, agrees to take care of Charlie.
Yeah, Beau's like, please take care of my dad. And she's like, okay.
And she's like, please tell Jules when she finds out about all this werewolf stuff.
Oh, yeah.
That I'm happy.
Yeah, Beau's... It's like harkening back to Jules again, which just feels so forced. It's like, I know that Beau enjoys Jules, but like, they're not close at all.
They're not close to the degree that, like, her and Angela and... Well, not in this. I would say that in Twilight, the Twilight Saga, if you will, Bella is closer to Jules than her human friends. Or Jacob. Bella's closer to Jacob than her human friends, but I don't see that Beau being close to anyone.
Yeah, because Jeremy is not really a good friend. Mm-hmm. Alan's sort of just out of the picture.
Like, I don't think that I don't think that it's a significant...
Yeah.
Like, I don't think it's natural for him to be like, oh, I want Jules to know that I'm happy.
Yeah. It doesn't make sense at all.
Maybe because it's, like, the only potential that Beau has for, like, an outside friend that isn't a Cullen.
It just feels forced.
It does. You're right.
Because clearly Jules is, like, if Beau's gonna see anyone again, it would be Jules.
Yeah.
Because she'll be a werewolf.
It's the only connection with her past life that she can maintain.
Mm-hmm.
Like, Bonnie hates Beau now, so it's not like he can confide in Bonnie.
Yeah.
But, like, he could confide in Jules, I suppose.
Perhaps. I guess we don't know how that would play out. We don't know, like, if Jules would be like, oh, well, like, Beau is... Because, again, they don't have, like, that relationship, so it wouldn't make as much sense for Jules to be like, oh, well, Beau is still Beau, rather than be like, you're a bloodsucker, like, as Jacob lovingly likes to refer to the vampires.
And also, like, the connection between Jacob and Bella is a lot more compulsive on Jacob's behalf because of the connection with Renesmee.
That's
and the way that Stephanie explained it, being like, oh, like, you feel so, like, Jacob feels so drawn to Bella because of the potential of, like, Renesmee being born.
His imprint. I never thought of that, actually.
And,
that's
like,
crazy.
That connection presumably is not there between Beau and Jules, so Jules doesn't feel as drawn to Beau as Jacob feels to Bella.
Yeah.
So it's not like when the vampires and the werewolves were trying to work together, it was always Jules that bridged that gap. Mm-hmm. Or Jacob that bridged that gap. Oh my god. And then there's really no reason for Jules to sympathize or feel drawn to to Beau in any way, which makes me wonder about if Victor came back for vengeance.
Would they work together?
Would they work together because the werewolves and the vampires are trying to get rid of these other vampires? Like, I doubt it.
It wouldn't be because of Beau. Yeah. Really. It would just be because they're trying to protect humans in the area.
Yeah. It makes me wonder. And then, I mean, there's really no need for the fight in Breaking Dawn because there's presumably no immortal child.
Yeah.
There's a lot of what-if questions that are brought up. Mm-hmm. The book ends... After this, like, whole werewolf discussion, it ends... There's also no discussion of Beau's gift beyond, like, self-control. But there's no shield or anything like that. I thought there might be for a second. Like, when the werewolves weren't really buying that, like, this was Beau's choice, or that someone else had done it as well, I thought that maybe, like, Beau would just, like, project into their minds.
Yeah, like, all of a sudden.
Yeah, I don't know. But it didn't come up.
That would have been, like...
Really dumb.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just another dumb thing.
It didn't come up. But the book ends with, like, just Edith and Beau walking and says, I kept pace with Edith and stopped when she stopped. She put her hands on either side of my face. It's been a long day, a hard one, but I want you to know that you're extraordinary and I love you. Aww. I pulled her tight against me. I can handle anything as long as you're with me. She wrapped her arms around my neck. Why does this read like fan fiction that I wrote in 5th grade about Rent?
Yeah.
Then here I will stay. Forever, I said. Forever, she agreed. I leaned down until my lips found hers. Forever was going to be amazing.
Oh my god.
Shut up. Okay. Yeah. That's how it ends, and it's like, really? Like, really?
Yeah. It's, I don't know if I can expect anything more.
It's people rag on the Twilight series because people that even like the Twilight series rag on the Twilight series because Bella gets everything she wants. Mm-hmm. And she doesn't have to give up anything. Yeah. She gets her family. She gets Edward, she gets a child, she gets immortality, she gets everything. But do you really want it any other way? Because this is the other way.
Yeah.
And this is fucking stupid. Like, maybe if this had been written better, like, maybe.
Yeah. I think that Stephanie Meyer would argue that she doesn't get everything because she's lost her human life, and like that's like the big sacrifice that she makes throughout the book. I don't know if it's worthwhile to argue that Bella should like have more trauma in her life. Yeah. She definitely like
she experiences
loss. A lot of loss, like a lot of traumatic events. Eventually, she doesn't lose anyone close to her
yet, but she will outlive all of her family members.
Like, that's kind of implied.
She's going to watch Charlie get much older and die. She's going to watch Renee get much older and die. Yeah. If not from up close, she's going to keep track on them. Yeah. Like, keep tabs on them. Yeah. She's going to lose people along the way. Like, we don't know what's going to happen in her future. Like, we don't know if her life is just going to be perfect forever. Yeah. I don't know.
I wouldn't wish, I don't know. I don't think it's necessarily a worthwhile argument to say that characters have to, especially like
make a sacrifice.
Yeah, especially like young women have to have like traumatic experiences and like irreplaceable losses in order to like have character development. Like trauma is not character development. Right. Yeah. But then again, like we have Rosalie, single one of these they all have that's their character. So but there's definitely a lot there.
Yeah. Emmett doesn't have trauma, and because of that, like, I mean, you could argue that his death is traumatic, but, like, he doesn't seem to process it.
He doesn't have a backstory like everyone else does.
Emmett doesn't have trauma, and that means that in the Life and Death, Eleanor doesn't have trauma. Mm-hmm. But because all of the women from Twilight, Rosalie, Alice, Esme, because all of them have trauma as women, she has to recreate that trauma
for men.
But I don't think that she would have done that in the first place. And, like, Jasper has trauma, yes, but it's, like...
It's different.
It's kind of coded different than, like, the girls.
Yeah, it's trauma. More... I would argue that for the women who are Cullens, their trauma is more closely tied to their bodies.
It is?
We don't know about Alice, but, I mean, still, like, being...
electric shock and being constrained.
Yeah, okay, there we go.
Hair.
There it is.
Yeah.
We don't hear about that very much, but... but for Jasper, obviously it's physical, but it's not. It's because it's sort of like the gang violence that is called upon in this book a lot.
Jasper walks away from his trauma and leaves his abuser. Yeah. And has the ability to do that.
Like he didn't become a vampire because of his trauma.
Exactly. Whereas like Esme dies. Yeah. Rosalie dies. Alice dies. Yeah. Like, he gets to be like, oh, yeah, I left Maria behind, and, like, I...
And Carlisle's story is similar to Jasper's in that way, I would argue, because, I mean, he's... Obviously, he's turned against his will, and it has more to do with, like, his father than him, but he still, like, walks away from that and, like, lives a life of retribution, like, as a vampire. It's also painted as maybe penance for, like, I don't know... doing some of that stuff with his father, like colluding against vampires.
It's kind of just a...
It's a cornerstone story.
Westworld.
Westworld.
Yeah. So that was Life and Death. Yeah. But there's an afterword, and Stephanie's real snarky.
She's real snarky.
So I'm gonna read it. We meet again, gentle reader. First of all, you don't fucking know me. I know it's a lot to expect you to read both a forward and an afterword. I literally, I don't need that sass. But there are a few things I wanted to say that I couldn't include in the beginning without spoiling the fun of your read. Was it fun? Yes. Am I betrayed? Yes.
Yes.
So obviously I have cheated. I did not stay true to the original story in the conclusion of my swap. Oh my god, you didn't? And I am not sorry. It was exciting, and I very much enjoyed writing the alternate ending. But let me be quick to say, the fact that Beau becomes a vampire has nothing at all to do with the fact that he is a boy, not a girl. Uh-huh. It's also like...
Let's unpack that. Let's stop.
Yeah. It is also like, at what point do we stop using the terms boy and girl for men and women? Yeah. Because Beau and Bella are 17 years old. Yeah. And, like, both of them have gone through puberty. Yeah. I don't know. It is kind of irresponsible. I feel like you can call a 17-year-old a girl.
So much of that. So much of it is irresponsible. Yeah. I think it's confusing when she says something like that, because she said that the purpose of this book was to write... I think we said this already. Yeah. But, like, the purpose of the book was to like prove a point that It's the same story if people have different genders. Obviously, she was wrong, but she thought she was right. But then she changes the story drastically anyway and says it has nothing to do with that. And it just, like, if someone didn't read the Afterword and didn't read any of her reasoning behind it, it would be even easier to be like, oh, well, like, this is because Bo is a boy. And, like, it obviously feels like a different character.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So she says, this change also does not mean that I prefer it to the original or think the original was wrong. This has always just been the big what if, and I wanted to see what it would feel like if Twilight had been the end of the story.
Which is bullshit, because she originally wanted to just write Twilight and not any of the sequels. Like, that was going to be the end of Twilight.
Right. If, like Bo, Bella had left the airport 5 minutes earlier.
Which is, like, something that we don't understand when we're reading it. We don't understand that he's left 5 minutes earlier.
Don't, because no one...
He's not checking the time.
No one knows exactly what time Bella leaves the airport.
Yeah.
No one reading that is like, oh my god, Bo left 5 minutes earlier. I bet that's significant and gonna change the outlook of the rest of our, like, story.
And that's, like, also so random.
Yeah, if we can't fucking catch it.
Yeah.
When she's writing this, like, I kind of want to know if she started writing this on, like, an exploratory journey to see what the ending would be, or if she started writing it with this what if and, like, just wrote the rest of the story to arrive at this point. You know what I mean? Like, if she wanted to write the what if, or if she wanted to write the gender swap.
Right, yeah. I was just thinking that, too.
I don't know.
Yeah.
We'll never know. There's a lot of happiness in Bo and Edith coming together and taking away the great stumbling block between them so much earlier, but there's also great sadness. As a human, Bella had to endure a lot more pain than Bo did.
Can you read that again?
As a human, Bella had to endure a lot more pain than Bo did. So she admits...
Maybe because is it because she's a human for longer?
Yeah, maybe.
Maybe.
But I don't know if Stephanie thinks this, but I would argue that she endures a lot more pain in the first
Twilight
book
alone.
than...
Yeah, absolutely.
But in the end, I know that she would tell you it was all worth it. Well, yeah, but most people tell you that it was all worth it, even if it fucking wasn't.
Yeah, because it's your life.
People say the tassel was worth the hassle. My tassel was not worth the hassle in high school or college. It was not worth the hassle. Are you kidding me? I shouldn't have had to do half of the things I had to do.
Yeah.
In order to get the tassel.
It's
people
like,
always say that shit afterwards because they're afraid of having regrets. They're trying to justify
like terrible things that have happened. It's like, I understand Miley Cyrus when she says that it's the climb, but sometimes it's really just the destination.
It's always gonna be an uphill battle.
It's not. It doesn't have to. It shouldn't have to be an uphill battle.
She takes the microphone.
It should not have to be an uphill battle. You're worth better. Don't let them tell you that the tassel is worth the hassle, because it's not. Stay in school.
Our next podcast is a Twilight ASMR. Yeah. Keep reading the Afterword.
I have a lot of post-college feelings.
Yeah, that was... She just projected a lot.
I did. No, but it's like, of course Bella would tell you that
everyone always says it's worth it. She gets everything she wants.
Yeah.
Just like we just said.
It's just tell me that... show me someone that says, like, oh, like, all of this wasn't worth it at the end. Everybody is always like, oh, that was so worth it.
Yeah.
Like, of course. Okay. But we'll be fine. More than fine. He'll be very happy, but he'll always have the one big regret, which is what he said to Charlie before he left.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Bella was able to put her house in order, and she's confident she got the best version of the story. So that is the end of Bo and Edith's story. You're free to imagine the rest. When, where, and how they get married, and bitch, I will imagine.
Yeah.
What Victor might try in order to get revenge. What Bo and Jules will say to each other when they meet again. When?
Okay.
If Bo and Royal ever become friends, they'll
be fine. Yeah, it's gonna be okay.
Whether the Volturi, led by Sulpicia, are a more benign, less corrupt organization, parentheses, italicized, I think so. I hope you've enjoyed a different look at Twilight that really isn't very different at all. Parentheses.
It's literally so different.
Parentheses, except for the end, which I don't apologize for. Again, thank you for everything you've meant to me in the last 10 years. You're not welcome. Thank you, Stephanie. P.S. I didn't make a playlist for this one as I usually do because the music I'm listening to now didn't exist in 2005 when the story begins, and that felt off. But if you're interested, the soundtrack inside my head for this one.
She just did quotation marks in the air, but didn't say quote unquote.
I'm just not built for radio. I'm too pretty. But if you are interested, the air quotes soundtrack inside my head for this one is basically 3 albums that none of us have ever heard of.
Yeah, I have no idea.
Royal Blood by Royal Blood, Seeds by TV on the Radio, and 2.0 by Big Data.
All right. I don't want Stephanie Meyer to I'm not asking her to apologize for this. I just want answers. Like, I want to know what the motivations were. I know that we shit on Stephanie Meyer a lot in this podcast, and like, for the record, like, we love this.
Yeah,
like,
absolutely.
We love her. We're so grateful. It's just like,
I'm grateful for all of the things that she's produced.
But also we get to critique her.
I know that I can't like expect her to like just pump out more content for me, but like,
and I don't. But I want it.
But I also can demand whatever I want of my media.
Yes.
So
this is our podcast.
This is our podcast.
I think a lot of people in the fandom agree. People who are like, in like our Tumblr circles of Twilight agree that like a lot of us feel like we know more about the characters than Stephanie Meyer does.
Absolutely. There's this post that goes around sometimes that's like, it's one of the 200 posts that exist in the Twilight blogosphere, because there are only 20 of us blogging.
Yeah.
No, not really. There's a bunch, but feels very small.
Yeah.
There's this post that goes around sometimes that's like, sometimes people will ask me questions about Twilight, and like there will be like no canon answer.
Yeah.
But like I will have already constructed like an answer from my mind because of the years that I've spent thinking about like constructively about what this universe like functions as, and like justifying it, and like whatever, and like how we're not given a lot to work with in this universe if you compare it to other fictional universes like Harry Potter, or I don't love Lord of the Rings, or no, I haven't seen all of them. But Lord of the Rings, as I understand, is like a very well defined, laid out,
probably the most detailed lore.
And very consistent. Star Wars even has a really consistent canon, and
Harry Potter, not so much Harry Potter, but way more than Twilight.
But the things, there's very few plot holes or like things in Harry Potter that can't be explained away. Whereas in Twilight, we have to, as a fan base, we have to like really do a lot of that work ourselves, where like people are always hung up on the same few things that are really never addressed by Stephanie, like period blood,
like a lot of things that are vaguely sexual or reproductive in nature,
but also still very important like to some people, like what do vampires do around period blood? The answer that the fandom has come up with, because Stephanie never said shit. That's not true. She probably said things, because it's probably one of her most common questions, but
I've never seen it, though.
I've never seen anything that she said, but, like, other people have constructed this answer that, like, period blood, because it's, like, a little bit older, because it's, like, uterine lining that's been in the body for 30 days. It's not as fresh, it's not as oxygenated, and it doesn't smell as like, appealing. They say that it smells, like, less appealing than animal blood, so you go, like, animal blood, like, period blood, animal blood, human blood. It's kind of like having stale food or something like that, or, like, sour milk or something, which is, like, should we be thinking about our reproductive systems in that negative way? Probably not. My period blood should be good enough for any vampire.
Yeah, come on.
Like, I'll collect it in a menstrual cup. Yeah. For you. True blood. I'm not here for that period negativity.
I think that maybe one of the appeals of the Twilight Saga and like the fandom is that there's so much room for constructing like whatever reality we want out of it, and maybe I'm curious about like why like different people are drawn to like different stories, and like I feel like the people who have gathered on Tumblr.com to discuss Twilight in the year of our Lord 2018. It's like there is something about it that like has stayed with us and like pulls all these people together to like talk about like all these different possibilities in a way that feels different. I mean, each fandom feels distinct, so it's just interesting how this happens. And like I think something that is unique about Twilight is that it is not accepted as like nerdy like a lot of other fandoms are. No,
if you walk into Books A Million, as I did yesterday, like you're not gonna find Twilight merchandise. No,
it's not popular anymore. It's like it used to be pop culture, but now it's subculture.
Yeah, and that's really unique because I feel like a lot of the pop culture that's developed over the same time period, like Harry Potter and even like Supernatural, like Hunger Games.
Yeah. Literally anything over the last 10 years.
You can walk into Hot Topic and get a t-shirt, at least. It's not so with Twilight, and believe me,
Yeah.
I've been into a few.
I also think it's interesting that this book hasn't been picked up by the fandom in the same way. I mean, I'm not surprised at all.
Yeah, it's dumb.
That it's not, like, revered as, like,
canon
even. I think it has certainly served as a really interesting lens to talk about Twilight itself as, like, original content.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
No one does this. No one writes their book again with different genders, like except for this one situation.
Stephanie. Also, something I totally forgot about until yesterday when we were at the bookstore is that the 50 Shades of Grey saga has a Midnight Sun equivalent from Christian Grey's perspective called Darker.
Oh my god, Stephanie, keep up.
I know. Okay, so it's like they get one.
Yeah.
The 50 Shades of Grey fandom that's like 5,000 moms somewhere that like actually read all the books. Like I know it's more than that, but like they get Midnight Sun.
We don't even have
they get Midnight Sun.
Oh man. Why am I not honestly like am I E.L. James?
Are you E.L. James?
I should be, I wish.
You would be a much better E.L. James.
Yeah, you're right.
No offense to E.L. James.
Yeah, I could go off about that, but it's not. We're getting a little bit off topic.
We are. I think we're just like reflecting on Twilight as a whole.
Overall, do you have any 3 feeling words about this book?
Feeling words: betrayed, delighted.
Just 2.
I can only find 2 because my third one is why. As in, why did you write this instead of Midnight Sun?
Yeah.
I don't know. Grateful. Hashtag blessed. What are your 3 feeling words?
Is agonized a word? Yeah.
Yeah.
Agonized. Entertained.
Oh, yeah.
Like, so entertained. And
I'm gonna miss reading original Twilight content.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. It's just, like, a little bit more juicy than fanfiction.
Yeah.
And then, I guess just, like, I'm confused. Yeah. Ultimately just confused about a lot of different things. Not just plot points. Obviously we have a million questions but I mean I think we've talked about a lot of things in relation to this book, but I think there's even more that can be speculated about in terms of what the effect of the book is.
It makes me think about that Twilight party we had.
Mm-hmm.
Highlight of our college careers by far is that we convinced 50
Maybe.
40 people?
Yeah, probably 40.
40 people to go to a party.
A Halloween party.
Like a house party, like a rager. It was a rager.
Yeah, it really
I lost
was.
a toenail at that party.
Yeah, you did.
We convinced 40 people to dress up as Twilight characters.
And come to our Twilight-themed Halloween party.
And people went all out. We had somebody dress up as Bella's truck. We had a golden onion. We had Zephrina. We had a deer. We had Bella multiple times. We had Kelly, the character from Parks and Rec, when there's the Twilight episode where the guy chains himself to Leslie Knope's pipe in her office.
I guess he wants to put Twilight in the time capsule.
Yeah, we had that. People are willing to engage with this fandom. They just have to be drunk or forced.
Yeah.
People that are like kind of like people that are on the periphery of caring about Twilight, people that are our friends and just are like constantly encountering it because we are always talking about it 100% of the time. Our roommates, like people like that, they've become more receptive to Twilight. And I think there was like an unfortunate thing that happened where Twilight became like a bad thing to like.
Yeah.
And
we talked about this a little bit in the first episode.
We did, but I think that people that are unashamed into liking it now are kind of bringing it back a little bit.
You can kind of open back up to liking something that you were ashamed out of liking.
And you can let people critically think about why they have an adverse reaction to Twilight when you bring it up to them.
Yeah. It's mostly like Bella hate. It's like faux feminism, hate. Honestly.
Yeah, it's kind of like
trying to be feminist by being like
Bella made the wrong choices.
Yeah. Right? Yeah. Or like, but it's not her fault. It's also like doesn't have to be feminist.
No, it doesn't have to be feminist, but
we can still enjoy whatever we want to enjoy.
The only thing feminist is like literal feminist texts.
Yeah.
That are written by literal feminist theorists.
Yeah.
And like to call any work of fiction feminist is just kind of like
I like never trust
irresponsible. I wouldn't call Harry Potter any feminist in any way that Twilight isn't.
Yeah.
Like you can say that
you can analyze these things through a feminist lens.
Yeah.
Or through like a queer theory lens.
Don't tell me that Rosalie isn't just as cool and like powerful as Hermione.
Yeah. Or Royal, you mean?
I'm sorry, Royal.
Rosalie's
dead
cool,
to me.
Sorry.
No, Royal's not as cool. No, you're right.
Sorry. Feminist? You mean feminist icon Royal Hale?
If you're interested in more Twilight content that is produced by us, you can follow us at bowlingshirtbellas.tumblr.com.
Mm-hmm.
We are very active. We're popular. We
Well.
are validated. No, we make original content. We make memes.
Yeah, and if you listen to this podcast and you want to talk to us about anything that we said, you can drop into our ask box there. You can also email us at bowlingshirtbellas@gmail.com.
That's right.
We'll try to remember to check that.
We literally have a Twilight email.
Yeah, we have recorded this all like in one chunk of time. We're not like recording as we go, so we won't be able to like answer questions in the podcast.
Yeah.
If you want to talk to us, we're online.
Yep,
And
we could do more experimental things like this in the future.
Unless like you're one of our literal real life friends, then you can just text us if you want to talk to us
Yeah.
about it.
Totally text us about this. Like, if I don't get text from our friends about this, like, first of all...
Actually, do not text me. You have to go to our Tumblr.
You can text me.
Okay. Where's the solidarity?
Yeah.
Thanks so much to my brother Gabe for letting us use his studio.
If you're interested in some really interesting, cool, awesome music,
Gabe
Gabe
has a SoundCloud.
has a SoundCloud. He also has an EP that's dropping
Soon
in June, so it should be out by the time you listen to this. His music name is O Lucifer.
Yes.
Shout out to Sam's parents for owning the house that we're recording in.
Yep. Thanks to Tumblr.com and Stephanie Meyer.
Yep.
And Kristen Stewart for her endless support and love and inspiration.
Close personal friend, Kristen.
Close personal friend, Kristen Stewart.
Yep. Thanks to Jenny Woodard for assigning Twilight in my senior seminar.
Yep. Thanks to Catherine Hardwick.
Thanks to Catherine Hardwick for sexing up Twilight.
Yeah.
For really pushing Stephanie over the edge.
It pushed me into puberty. Just kidding. Or am I? There's no way of knowing. There's no way of knowing if that's true or not. Yeah. Thanks for listening, and keep in touch.
That's all, folks.
Thank you for listening to Gender Forking. To stay updated about the podcast or to contact us, follow us on Twitter at genderforking or like us on Facebook at facebook.com/genderforking. For more Twilight content from us, you can follow our blog at bowlingshirtbellas.tumblr.com. If you haven't read Life and Death and you aren't reading along at home, visit bowlingshirtbellas.tumblr.com/genderforking for plot summaries and more information about the text. For other inquiries, you can email us at bowlingshirtbellas@gmail.com. The music you are hearing is Thursday in Snow Reprise by Blank Kit.